What is going on, guys? MG2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the high-grade Gundam Sandrock from Mobile Suit Gundam Wing. Now, this thing is basically the basic Sandrock from Gundam Wing. I've never really watched Gundam Wing, so I do not really know a lot about this, particularly this version of it. But I have to say, this thing does look pretty nice. The construction is good and simplistic, although a few seam lines can be seen along the way. For example, the ones down the arms, it is dark, so it cannot really be shown, but the ones on the legs, well, I think it is because either the polycaps aren't cooperating or the seam line is just that obvious. So you may need to do a little bit of touch-up work to clean this gigantic seam line up. But other than that, the construction is really ingenious, just because I don't think it is missing too many color apps. I think you need to paint in the black vents and the gray tips for the toes, but then every single thing over here is either made up of stickers or plastic pieces. Now the red over here is made up of a plastic piece, the red on the chest plastic piece, and the thrusters over here, or vents I suppose, are made up of plastic pieces. So there isn't really too many stickers to make up all of these colors, which is what I really like. Speaking of stickers, you have the forehead camera, Justice style, you have the eyes, nothing on the back of the head, the gray on the shoulders, there's 4 of them, and then the red over here is a sticker, but I could understand why they did it, because it is such a small Gundam. It really cannot use like red plastic in here, so they have to make it a sticker. I could understand why that is. And oh yeah, and then also the metallic green on the chest, which you can easily paint in, it's fine. But other than that, the looks of this guy is really good. Articulation, it's basically the modern high grade articulation. So it's a double ball jointed head, ball jointed arms with a swivel up polycap. The shoulders, they can rotate, the arms can go out that far, rotation above the elbow, and then bend at the elbow at 2 joints, which is very good. Almost got that 180, but unfortunately the armor got in the way. The wrists are ball jointed. The waist is interesting because you can tip it out, and then you have a section in the actual waist unit that actually tugs the actual back skirt up, so you can get more tilting motion. So all in all, you get this amount of tilting forwards, and it just dislocated itself. Nothing really too great going back, however. So yeah, it is rather decent forward but not back. Still has that rotation, and front skirts could be separated, side skirts are on those polycap joints, back skirts could finally freaking move for once in a modern kit. Mind you, this is an entirely new mold, so it's surprising that they molded in a movable back skirt. Anyways, the legs themselves, they have this RG mechanic which allows the legs to swivel up and down. So yeah, it is very good that you could choose how you want to pose your Sandrock. Although mine, it's a little bit finicky to get it to work, but it is there, so you could pull off multiple different poses. And then the legs can go forwards, go backwards, go outwards, almost all the way in every direction, but the side skirts are just a tad bit too large. Of course, you could cheat by rotating it away, so that's a thing. Rotation at the hip, double jointed knee, which yeah, looks pretty decent. And then the feet can go forwards and back, side to side, rotate. The toes can slightly move, and then the ankle guards are pegged in on the back of the ankle so they can move on a ball joint. And that's basically it. So the Gundam Sandrock's articulation is just average. Nothing really too special aside from the movable back skirt on an entirely new mold. But other than that, it is just a very decent articulated kit. Be careful of the side skirts though, because they may pop off if you try to overdo it. Accessories, pretty simple. So first of all, we have the shield over here, which does have 2 stickers for the eyes. So you can basically plug it onto the arm like so. It works on either arm, so he can be a lefty or a righty when it comes to the shield. And then we have the heat Shotels over here. So these are the unheated versions of it, and they do look pretty nice, but the gray looks kind of dull if you ask me, but that's just my subjective opinion. I prefer the heated over the gray, which I could bring in right now. So these are actually a very nice clear orange, and I just like the effect. I just like the effect to death. So to switch out the gray for the heated, you basically just pull them out from the sockets and then just plug the heated ones back in. Now I am afraid that this mechanic will wear off over time, but it hasn't happened yet, so yeah, I'm glad. Before I display using the heated versions, let me mount it onto the backpack. So you mount the guard right into the hole of the backpack right here. So just plug it on like so. There we go, the heat shuttles are stored. And it does come with a few hands, so I'm gonna bring in the thumbs up transient Gundam hands that are slanted slightly for one of the shuttles. So I'm gonna switch it out for the heated one, and there we have it. The Gundam Sandrock holding one of its heated shuttles. But of course I do prefer the normal hands holding them, so let me do that. They work just as well. But it really depends on your display preferences here. So yeah, both of these could work really nicely. But then you could combine the backpack, the shield, and the heated shuttles into the claw. So what you basically do is, well, I'd like to use the heated versions for this. I know it may not be anime accurate, but whatever. And basically mount it right back onto the backpack. And then you take off the shield and mount it onto the hole right here. And you take off the backpack, which reveals this, which basically means one downside is that the Gundam Sandrock's chest is not really that customizable with anything at all. And then just basically plug the backpack onto the arm, like so. And then because the backpack is jointed, you can initiate the clamping action. But I really do not know what to do with this because they are not level. I thought the blades would close in on themselves and be on a level plane, but they're not. I'm not doing anything wrong. I've checked multiple times. It's just the way that the shuttles are designed to tilt their blades into the one side. So I do not know what is on with this. It's kind of irritating me, but when they're open, it's not really that noticeable. So you could actually pull off some really good poses with the clamp. And to go with that, we do have open hands for each hand. Although they are kind of like relaxed hands instead of anything dynamic, it's still good that Bandai actually included said open hands into the kit. So that's all the accessories for the high-grade Gundam Sandrock, but I would want to address one more point. We may have taken the mounting ports for the action base for granted, because this thing doesn't have an action base mounting unit right in the center of the crotch, but right here in the butt, which is made by plugging this gray piece onto the main unit over here. So what this basically means is that you can plug this thing onto an action base, but it could potentially pry open the hole. So yeah, it is fine right now, but if you do not assemble it correctly, or if the action base starts to pry the hole open, the whole thing would just fall off. So I do not know if this is a good or bad. So I really think that this is not the best design. They could have easily bored a hole right through here, instead of using a separate piece to make it, or even just make the entire gray unit an entire piece instead of having this thing be a separate piece, because I'm afraid that, yeah, it's starting to pry open. But you can still have the option to display the sky aerial, so I'm not complaining. It's just a little bit unintuitive. So for comparisons, I'm gonna bring in the normal Gundam. Now, at first glance, it may look like the Sandrock is actually in level height, but when I compared it with the back-to-back, it kind of starts to make sense. But because of the mohawk over here, it kind of gives it an illusion that it is with as level height with the Gundam. So let's bring in another Gundam to compare it with, the Hazel Ausla. So that's gonna be all for the high-grade Gundam Sandrock. What do I think of this kit? Well, basic engineering and as a straight build, it is pretty decent. Let me get that clear. But the one thing I cannot accept is that, yeah, the blades are not in level plane. But as a straight build kit, it is a decent kit. I would recommend this thing. But if you're buying this thing for customization, however, I wouldn't really recommend it. Although it is using the same basic frame, the chest has to go with the backpack. So unless you do some scratch building or something like that, you will not be able to get like a straight kit bash with the chest unit and the backpack unit, because you cannot mount on any other backpack other than the Sandrock's backpack. So yeah, it is kind of weird. But anyways, that's just a minor complaint. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there would find a way around it. But yeah, it's not really too good for customizing. Same as the Destiny Gundam with its arms. So yeah, for customizing, it's not really that good. But anyways, that is basically all for the Gundam Sandrock. So I would give it a 7 to 7.5 out of 10. So it is a recommendation from me, but it's not something that is groundbreaking. It is a fun kit to build and a fun kit to pose and mess around with. So that's basically it. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more Gunpla reviews, Gunpla news, and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the featured channels on my channel page if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Bye bye.